Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Tuesday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show, live on your lunch break. I am your co-host, as always, Rusty Buckets, checking in here in East Memphis on a chilly kind of day after a warm couple of days here. I got my guy Drew Gann, aka Uncle Buck, checking in from Ripley, Mississippi. How's it going in North Mississippi, sir?
Oh, it is good. Yeah, it's overcast, but it's not too bad. You know, I think we're sitting around the mid 60s, which is a slight dampening or a little bit lower than it was yesterday, but not as hot as it's going to get this weekend. We're getting into the 80s, it seems like, on Saturday when Memphis, I'm gonna be in ya Saturday. And
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
I'm excited about Saturday. It's going to be a good day. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. I'm sure it'll come up. But Drew, it's Tuesday, so that means we gotta get into it.
all right, we're gonna hit our first segment of the day. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's everybody's biggest waste of time. And it is where Rusty and I, two friends for over a decade, just catch up. We're busy. We've got significant others and kids and jobs and hobbies over the weekend, and we don't always get to catch up. So we use the first 5 to 7 minutes of our Tuesday episode to give us each other the best thing that happened to us this week and the beef of the week, the worst thing that happened to us this week. So, Rusty, I set them up. You knock them down. What is the best thing that happened to you this weekend?
Well, I get on here to brag about Maggie Light. I'm going to do that here in a minute. But my best is currently, I've been looking for my little Vixen Hailer. I've lost it for the last week, and I just found it on my desk under a book. So that's my new best of the week. But I will say my true best of the week has been, I was talking about this with Maggie last night. Like, before I met her, I was a creature of habit. Man, I ate chicken, rice, and green beans for lunch every day and tacos every night for supper. I just make it all on Sunday, and that's what I'd eat all week. And like, since this relationship, and especially since moving to Memphis, like my food variety has increased by quite a bit. Like being able to, we try like stir fry, we've done different chicken recipes and pastas and all this kind of stuff. It's a good and bad thing. I'm getting chubbier, but I am grateful that I'm actually like expanding my palate outside of rotisserie chickens, white rice and green beans from Walmart, and then tacos at night. So my best of the week is your boy is eating good.
Hey, that is good. That is an absolute best if I've ever heard one.
Yes.
You know, good food is always good. You know, and it's the thing that I feel like I eat too much, but that's not always because I've got a lot of good food. My wife is a dang good cook. Like, don't hear what I'm not saying here. She's great. Mm-hmm. But with 4 kids and ball and everything, it just feels like it's just trash a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about chicken, rice, and green beans, and I'm like, man, if I could get that for lunch every day, that'd be like, I'd love that because last night we had ball and it was a LC's hot and ready kind of night. And so Wado's ready for some breakfast down over.
Yeah, tomorrow. It's breakfast time tomorrow, apparently.
So, all right, my best of the week. A couple quick ones. We had 2 big events, 2 big parties over the weekend. I hinted at it on the Thursday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. We had a retirement party for my father. He is officially retired from the company he's been at for 28 years. I don't know of a life in which my dad did not work as a salesman for Maggot Glove and Safety. Like, I just never have. And I'll tell you what I told him in my toast. And I wanted to brag on him for a second, but it was like, nobody has a passion for gloves and safety equipment, but yet he was always the best at it. And it's not because, I mean, yes, he's a good salesman, I'm sure. And he likes to talk, but he just wanted my mom to stay at home with us and for us to have a comfortable life. And so he buzzed his tail for 30 years at a job he wasn't passionate about for the sole purpose of us having a good life. And it is so, I'm so appreciative of it. It was a surprise party. So he thought that the little family gathering that we told him it was too much. So when he busted in the doors and there was like 40 people there, it was he was uncomfortable to say the least. But it was so nice that that we got to do that for him.
Yeah, well deserved.
Just grateful for him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's not watching this, but if he is, I've already told you this once, so I guess you got to listen to me say it again. The second party, my daughter turned 3. Little Jenny turned 3 on Sunday. On Groundhog Day, 2/2/22 she was born, 2/2/25 she turned 3, and we had a party on Sunday afternoon for her at a little playground area that I'll talk to more about in my beef.
So, life's going really well right now. A lot of good things. I've been to a lot of Grizzly games recently, and going on Saturday, FedEx Forum, I'll be inside you on Saturday for the Thunder game. A lot of good things going on. So I don't have a ton of beefs. I'm just going to if you're a fan of this show for a long time, you know how miserable I was when I first moved back to the Mid-South with my allergies, and they have been whipping. They belt to ass to me the last couple of days, man, just with this change in weather, the grass and ragweed. Like, I'm just itchy and like all allergies in my eyes and nose. And so I'm just, your boy's in survival mode over here with my Vicks inhaler and my cough drops and trying to take my Benadryl. I'm just like I feel like I'm in a fog. Like my brain, it's worse than normal. I'm in a fog.
It's clockwork for Rusty. We're going to hear his beef for the next 17 Tuesdays is going to be his allergies. My beef.
I lived in Myrtle Beach for 6 years and had no allergies, and I come back and I have all of them.
You know what? You should have allergies in Myrtle Beach and none when you come to the South. That's the trade-off.
I guess.
So I think I was taking advantage of Sunday night at my daughter's birthday party. My wife booked this place. It's called Linkland in Corinth. Nobody knows who it is. It's where it is. That's fine. But it's just this little play area, and it's geared towards little kids, and it was great. And it was cheap, $125 for 2 hours of playtime. And I was like, absolutely, we're in. Let's do that. We invited all of our friends and family. Then we get to they're like, there's no cleanup. Like, they clean everything up for you. Like, everything. You just show up with a cake and have a party. And as we're cleaning up our presents and stuff and loading up the presents, that she comes over to my wife's like, y'all have a balance of $125. And we said, no, we paid $125. That's what the website says. And she said, no, a lot of people have complained about this, but it's very misleading. What you paid is the deposit. It's actually $250. And I said, well, if it's that misleading, maybe you should change it. And we even pulled it up. Haley pulled up the receipt. We looked at the website, and it is the option you pick. There's all the options. It says $125. You click it. You go in there to pay. It says pay $125. And then grayed out to the side, right beside it, is a pay in full option you can select. It's not the default. And so nobody knows that they're only paying the deposit.
Yikes,
and
that's shady.
If it wasn't like a 16-year-old high school student working there, like is the case at most of these kind of places, I'd have lost it. But I ended up just paying it, and I was very unhappy about it. Yeah. That's my biggest beef of the week.
Well, if that's the worst thing that happens to you, that you were out a little bit for your kids to have fun, then I think you're doing all right.
Yeah.
But Drew, we need to talk. We have a Woj bomb. Like, there were Woj bombs, and then do we have like Shams alarms? Like, what is it going what are we going to call it? Like, I don't know. Like,
Allah Akbar.
Yeah, my furniture's floating now. What is happening?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that as we're trying to think about Trade Deadline show. I wanted some kind of drop or something, but I'm like, Woj bomb was so good. I don't know what.
It's going to be hard to announce, but we do have one to talk about. We have a Shams something?
Shams.
Shazam it is. We have a Shazam. The Dallas Mavericks have made another trade. They are sending Quentin Grimes and their 2025 second-round pick back to the 76ers for one Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin, you are now a Dallas Maverick. Too bad Luke is not there with you anymore. So far, we've had 3 big trades, 2 of them involving the Magic, or the Mavericks. So it's nice that we actually have something to drop here on our show. Does that move the needle for you at all with the Dallas Mavericks?
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a big one, although I do like I do really like Caleb Martin, and he was a guy that I thought that we could target as like a C or D option because I have a lot of respect for folks that I've seen play really well in NBA Finals games. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah.
Like he was really good on those Heat teams. I was kind of surprised to see that he walked away from them. But he probably had higher hopes of what this season would be for Philadelphia than the train wreck it has been. So I'm sure this is definitely an upgrade for him, going from Philly to Dallas, who I think will continue to be good this year, just not for many years after this.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a guy. Did you see the sign of the guy that was at the Grizzlies game last night?
Yes.
That I used to be a Mavericks fan. Like, welcome to the fold. But like you think about it now, like this team, it sounds pretty good. So this is a Dallas Mavericks, and this is a Grizzlies podcast, but we're talking about a team that directly impacts us. Their 10-man rotation could be Kyrie, Clay, PJ, AD, and Derek Lively when he's healthy, and a second rotation of
and Gafford when he's not.
Right, I'm getting there. Then the second line of your other guys are Spencer Dinwiddie, Caleb Martin, Max Christie, Najee Marshall, and Daniel Gafford. That's a pretty deep 10-man rotation for this year. But like you said, going forward, like he's got 2K on easy mode, I guess, because it's just all the trades, like just accepting all the trades. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, listen, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about this Luka trade. Me and you have both been on multiple shows so far on our network talking about this trade. But this is another move that kind of fits what homeboy Harrison, what's his? I've already
Nico Harrison.
Nico Harrison, kind of what he likes. He said Luka doesn't play defense, so he went and got it. Caleb Martin, who does play good defense, 3-and-D guy. They're going to be a bear if they make the playoffs. They're going to be a hard out. Like there's no way around it. Now everything hinges on Anthony Davis. But if you get Anthony Davis healthy, he's playing at an all-NBA level, and Caleb Martin is better than Quentin Grimes. They're going to be a really good team and a really hard out in the playoffs.
Yeah, if only they had a superstar on that team, as Wayno says. Oh wait, but your Memphis Grizzlies are two things. We won 9 out of our last 10, and apparently we live rent-free in Trae Young's head. Did you see what he posted on Twitter about an hour ago?
No, I was at a lunch an hour ago, so fill me in.
I don't want to give it a ton of run because it's childish. I didn't even interact with it, but he posted a video of him making a shot over a Pistons player and then stepping over said Pistons player for a team that is 23-27 and 9th in the East. I want to put that in there. And he says, "Forget 12, call 11." That just tells me you're trying to you don't have an original thought. That's what it tells me. And the thing is, rent free. John Morant's rent free in that head.
Listen, I love the character of Trae Young. He is one of the few players in the NBA, if not the only player, who embraces his heel. Like he is total heel, and he loves it. And he's got one of the best. Like when he does this, the ice tray, like it's amazing. And I love the fact that he stepped over last night when he hit that game winner. But that's probably a tip of the cap to Ja. Like you recognize that call 12 is a thing that exists, and it is an elite, mic drop moment. When he picks up that phone, it is elite. Trae's got something good. Don't bite somebody else's style, or don't pay homage to Ja. Like you just hit the shiver and step over him, and that's as good as anything else.
That's it. And then just put the icy 11, icy Trae, whatever you put on Twitter, because what that does is it firmly supplants you as little brother, to where you have a moment and you can't help but have that moment and call out Ja Morant. Whether it was given props or not doesn't matter. You had your moment, and in your moment, you were thinking, nah, don't call Ja Morant. Call Trae Young. We're 9th place in the East. Brother, if the Grizzlies were in the Eastern Conference, we'd be mauling people. So I don't want to hear that.
We'd actually be a lower seed than we are now in the Western Conference.
But it's just because the Cavs have been killing everybody.
But they, Atlanta's weird, and they lost Jalen Johnson for the year, so that sucks for them. But it probably puts a nail in their coffin. Like they're not going to get above like a play-in tournament type of seed here. But Trae is great. I really love the character of Trae. I don't like Trae he's like mini James Harden at times, but I love the fact that he's such a heel.
Yeah, and he's the only NBA player in the league with a belly lint headpiece.
My favorite thing I ever saw about Trae Young's hair is it looked like you dropped a lollipop on the barbershop.
I saw that. I saw that. Hey, we can talk because neither of us have a great head of hair, so we can.
It's better than his,
but it's better than his.
Yeah.
But that's not enough. Your Memphis Grizzlies are winners of 9 of their last 10, including a big win last night over San Antonio. We don't want to dwell on that too much. I do want to start with this. Jaren Jackson Jr. is an all-star. And over those last 10 games, he is averaging 25.1 points, 31 minutes, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, a steal, and a block and a half in that 10-game span. Jaren has firmly picked this team up, put it on his back in the absence of Ja Morant, now the absence of Desmond Bane. Tripp truly is a unicorn. Like, I said this in a group chat and a couple group chats, like, Jaren has the best bag of a 7-footer not named Dirk Nowitzki. The way he can take you off the dribble, the way he can post up, way he can take corner threes. Jaren is playing at an all-NBA type level right now.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of an insult. He's got a better bag than Dirk.
Oh, he does, but I'm saying, like, him and Dirk had his pantheon.
But he's been absolutely amazing. And he's been that way all year, and we've we've appreciated him, and the Grizzlies have appreciated him. And obviously he's making an all-star game, which means that the Western Conference, that'd be Mark Daigneault, appreciates him. But he's going to be a second-team All-NBA if he keeps this up. And he is a season and a half removed from Defensive Player of the Year. He is just – it looks easy to him. And he's playing bully ball, so the fact that it looks easy for him to repeatedly put his – right or left shoulder into a big and get to that half hook, or fake the tomato chest and spin, or he can do everything, and everything looks easy. It's like the game is moving super slow, and then you put he's shooting. He had 7 threes against Milwaukee, and is that right? Milwaukee? No.
Yeah, against Milwaukee, he had 37
Milwaukee.
points. He was 7 for 13, yeah.
Yeah. You put 7 threes on top of that, we're talking MVP. I mean, like, he was just absolutely incredible last night, and he has been all season. And we have spoken incessantly about the greatness of Jaren Jackson Jr. this year, and I still don't feel like it's been enough.
Agreed, man. Like, we could talk about him all day long, and it's still not enough at the rate he's playing. I mean, he played against 2 premier defenders in the last 2 games in Giannis and Wemby, and he put 68 points on their head. And, like, this is not a knock against Jaren. He's never been a great rebounder. That's fine. But if he was averaging 9, 10 rebounds a game on top of this scoring, we'd be talking MVP. Like, it wouldn't even be close. And so
25-point double, averaging a 25-point double on the second seeded team in the West. Like, yeah,
that's MVP conversation. But at this rate, still a all NBA, like we were talking third team all NBA, he's playing his way onto that second team. Especially if he can continue at this clip that he's at. I mean, back-to-back 30-plus point games. He came within a cat's ear in that Bucks game of a 40-burger. I mean, one more minute he'd have had it. And so, again, like, this is not a knock against 12 because we're going to talk about him next. But Jaren has been the heart and soul of this team on the floor. Then last night happened. You got vintage Ja Morant back, for all the talk about him being checked out against the Knicks and missing those 2 games. And, he's wearing a shiesty and he doesn't look plugged in. He's not cheering for his team. Brother, we got old Ja last night with the behind-the-back pass, the no-look pass to Jaren that was amazing, and then helping LaRavia with the dunk on the sideline. Like, Ja was laser-focused last night and looked to be having fun playing basketball again. And we've said it on the show numerous times. When Ja Morant is having fun playing basketball, that's dangerous for the rest of the NBA.
Yeah, 25 and 11 in 29 minutes. He was +9 on the minutes that he was on the court. He was absolutely phenomenal. And it's the reason why I've kind of just tried to – I was critical of him, but it was not basketball related. And it's the reason why, as NBA fans, you live and die with 82 games. You've really got to remember that it is one of 82, or in this case, it's only a part of a season, and you're only down until he comes back and he shows himself to be 12 again. And that's what you saw last night. He was absolutely incredible. He was 50% from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, still only shot 3 free throws, which is crazy. But he was just absolutely phenomenal. I came out of my chair when he hit the behind the back bounce pass to Jaren driving the lane. Like, it had to be the perfect pass, and he did it behind his back. It was absolutely incredible. He had it from the start, and he finished with it. He 29 minutes is not the most amount of minutes he's going to play if he stays healthy. Yeah. You've seen the trend of all of our star players playing more minutes recently, especially since Ja came back. And so I do believe that when it comes up time, maybe not against Toronto, which I hope that's a blowout, but there's a tough back half of the schedule. I do believe that we're going to see Ja Morant in the 34 to 36 minute range at some point here pretty soon when needed.
And the best part was 2 things. Ja was engaged from the beginning because we ran pick and rolls from the beginning for him. Now, Edey's got to figure out where to go. He looks looks lost on the back end of a pick. If he's supposed to flare or dive, sometimes he looks a little bit lost. But it got Ja going, and that got Ja engaged. It shows, yes, Jaren has been our best player, but the team follows Ja's lead. Whether he's a leader or not, the team follows him. And we had high energy plugged in Ja last night, and it flowed over. For me, when he hit that no-look pass to Jaren with the spin at the top of the key, I literally, Maggie was starting to get sleepy, and I grabbed her and was like, oh, my God, he's back. It was such a great moment for Jaren to get the dunk. Great, vintage Ja pass. All you need to do is hit a gritty or something going down the floor. But Ja is coming back into Ja. So, ESPN talked about he couldn't lift his arm, whether it was some disciplinary things. Nobody knows. Ja missed 2 games. But whatever happened was a good reset for Ja, because that was a different Ja Morant last night. True point god, as he continues to be called on Twitter. 25 points and 11 assists. Those assist numbers are so good to see, because it's another evolution of his game as he matures as an NBA player.
Yeah, and it was right out of the gate too, which was my favorite part. Is he had 14 of those 25 in the first quarter. He hit all 3 3-pointers he took in the first quarter. So he had 10 points on free throws or threes, and then the rest were in the then he had some drop. He got to the rim a few times. So really good shot selection there. And if Ja Morant, if he's going to hit threes, God help him. You're just not going to defend.
That's what I was saying. Ja is becoming unguardable, because he was ended up 4 of 6 last night. At one point, he was 4 of 5. He ended up 4 of 6 last night from 3. He had 11 assists to 4 turnovers. So, he's getting in the lane. He hit a couple middies that were really clean, and then hitting threes. That is an unguardable force as our point guard. And like Wayno said, you cannot bet against Ja's talent. He is one of the most talented humans on this planet. His ability to see the floor at full speed, 5 feet in the air, doesn't matter. It's just otherworldly. It's hard to believe we are the same species as him, but I'm grateful that he's on our basketball team.
I mean, I've never seen him bleed. It could be blue for all we know.
I mean, that's it.
He may not be the same species. But to put a bow on last night, I guess, the only other players I would speak of is G.G. Jackson, 27 points in 28 minutes, was absolutely phenomenal.
So good.
He finished 11 of 20 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3. The only person who took more shots than G.G. was Jaren. And so he was absolutely incredible. And it's a good sign to see that he's doing this when playing on the same court as Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. So 4 rebounds and assists and 3 steals.
On G.G.,
really good.
A couple things he said in the postgame presser, which, by the way, I saw on Twitter last night. Somebody said Gigi's going to be a pastor when he's done playing basketball, because he is just such a great speaker, and it just seems like a good kid. And then he said, Desmond told me to keep shooting and my shot's going to fall. And we've talked about that. Gigi just, his shot looks good. I mean, that's it. His shot looked good, much like Dez's did earlier. Dez started pouring them in, averaging over 20 points a game in the month of December and January. And then now Gigi is falling in that same suit. And so, if that's what's going to come off the bench, there's also a movement, #start Gigi at the 3, but that's different. But that elite level of shooting and playmaking ability, He's so athletic. That windmill dunk was incredible. He can get to the rim in a heartbeat. His three looks good, and he's defending. I mean, he met Giannis midair over the weekend against the Bucks, and just like one of the best dunkers in our game, and Gigi jumped with him. And so it's like, don't jump with Gigi because you'll end up on a poster. And just incredible effort from Gigi, like awesome look last night. And then this was the other one. The last thing I want to say, Edey was plus 25 last night. It was an ugly, slow start. He was unplayable on defense, getting cooked. And like you said on the Daily Grind this morning, he didn't have any fouls because he couldn't keep up with Wemby, but he finished with a double-double, 16 points, 14 rebounds. He spent a lot of time at the rim with a lot of putbacks and dunks and oops. And I'm telling you, if him and Jaren can never figure out that two-main post game like Mark and Zach used to have, that will be a lethal combination for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, he was really good. You'll see a pattern with Zach Edey. When he has lots of points, he gets lots of offensive rebounds. He had 16 points, 14 rebounds last night. 5 of them were offensive rebounds. And I would venture to say that at least 8 of his points were putbacks. You know, because
and that's fine.
But that's my point with Edey. It's like, it's not necessarily he's part of the offense. It's not that he's featured, but it's the fact that he cleans up messes, which is what you valued so much out of Steven Adams. Now, I still stand by the fact that if you're going to run a motion offense, he doesn't fit. But if he is able to set hard screens and allow Ja to get ahead of steam going to the rim, and he is able to gobble up offensive rebounds, then he will play in this league. And if that's all he's asked to do, if he can do that, he will play for a very long time in the NBA.
Absolutely. And so, we kind of hit on this already. I wanted to talk about Desmond Bane. We kind of put a bow on last night. Great win. We'll look forward towards the end of the show. And then I've got a question after this. But with Desmond Bane, I talked about this in my Bucks 2 cents. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's on this channel. It's on Twitter. I talk about what Desmond Bane's injury means, being a foot sprain and some tentative timelines. Though Rob Fisher seemed pretty optimistic in the pregame report last night that Des would come back sooner than later.
Right.
Given Taylor's kind of word salad, and I'm not sure about that. Check out the Bucks 2 cents. But we needed somebody to step up in his absence to fill in those points. Last night it was Gigi Jackson Jr. Wednesday it might be Jalen Wells. It's showing that the cream is rising to the top with the depth that we have. Laravia and JD had some minutes last night, but I think it was more of an audition for some of the scouts. But the team, the players that are going to be those backfills are going to step up. Scottie Pippen Jr. has been playing much better defense recently. Last 2 games, he had 5 steals last night. He's been pesky on defense. And Drew, it kind of brings me to my question. And I think we all kind of know the answer, but I want to talk about it a little bit. The Knicks game seems to be serving as a catalyst for an effort level. So we for as low energy, low effort as we were against the Knicks, we've had back-to-back games where we have had Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, Jaren, Jalen diving for loose basketballs, Scotty being pesky on defense. This is a different effort level team. And we know sometimes you got to get your butt kicked. You got to get punched in the mouth in order to come back and check yourself and realize what you are. And I think that's what the next game is going to serve for us. Thoughts?
Yeah, I believe it's hard to argue the fact that it's not a wake-up call. I mean, the Knicks, you quit. You got pumped, you quit. I put a lot of that on Ja. Ja quit. The rest of the team quit. But since then, you've played 3 games. You played Houston, you played Milwaukee, and you've played San Antonio. San Antonio is currently out of the playoffs right now, but they're going to make a run back into it. I consider them a playoff team. And Milwaukee and Houston are absolutely shoe-in playoff teams, not play-in playoff teams. And you have brought fight. You have brought hustle. You've brought grit. And I can't help but relate that to what I saw last Friday night against New York when you didn't bring that. And so there had to be a come to Jesus there. And it seems like they're playing amazing. They're playing hard. Edey, to his credit, has always dove for loose balls.
For sure.
Always. And for somebody 7'5", I stand and give him a golf clap every time he does it. Because at 5'5", I don't know that I can make it up off the floor. And Scottie Pippen Jr. has been good. And I think there's there may be a correlation. We've always talked about minutes. Why are you not playing more minutes? But this team is fresh right now, and they outlasted Houston. Maybe not Houston, but they outlasted Milwaukee. Milwaukee did not have any gas left in the tank halfway through the fourth quarter, and they outlasted San Antonio last night. And in the last few minutes of the fourth quarter in both of those games, the Grizzlies turned it up a notch. And if you look at Scottie Pippen in particular, because he's been a steal master, in last night's game, he played 4 minutes in the first, 2 minutes in the second, 5 minutes in the third, 9 minutes in the fourth. Now, that was a blowout. He probably got a few more minutes than usual in the fourth. But he's coming in and just being told, hey, go be a Jack Russell Terrier out there.
Yeah, be a dog.
And it's like a cat with a toy where he's just like doing this, just back and forth. And just anytime they're guarding, he's ripped Chris Paul multiple times recently. Damian Lillard multiple times. And it's just because he's fresh and he's energetic and he's just.
He got Wemby last night too. There was a couple times where Wemby got the ball on the post and Scottie was there and knocked it out of his hand to Jake or to somebody else. He has been exactly what we've needed him to be, that high energy plug off the bench. You may not like this comparison, that's fine. But back in the day, JaMychal Green was the same thing. He was a high energy, hustle effort guy that wasn't great, but when he came in the game, the energy level changed. And that's what Scottie's been these last two games, and definitely what we needed out of him.
Yeah, I loved JaMychal Green back in the day.
I did too,
I always thought he was like extra light Mayo version of Draymond, but just go rebound, be the hustle guy, just muck it up,
He walked so X could run for us because he wasn't that athletic, but he was like, when you needed a hustle play, JaMychal Green was there. And so I loved J. Mike's minutes for the Grizz back in the day. And I'll always love him for the Nuggets interview where he's in the background warming up and the reporter's talking and the girl on the other side of the camera says, JaMychal's back there shooting. Is he going to play? And the guy goes, hey, JaMychal, you want to play? And JaMychal shakes his head no, and he goes, no, he's not going to play.
Yes, I totally forgot about that. Yeah. Let's get to Pat. Pat's in the comments here. Good buddy, League of Avengers member, brother of one Zach Jones. He's in here. He's got 2 notes for us. He thinks that he deserves all the credit for not overreacting. And I'll say what I said this morning on the Daily Grind. Like, I've always been the guy that's like, we're not going to make too big of a deal about this. But when you do as many shows as we do, and we have to talk after every show.
I mean, that's it.
You're going to have some talk about every single thing that happens. And so I try to always add that caveat with, we're 1 win away from thinking we're going to win a title again.
Right.
And
we're so back.
And we are back.
Back, baby.
Two, are we nervous that Gigi's not going to pass the ball every time he touches it? He's chucking a shot and not looking to pass. And that was kind of the reason why I was pumping the brakes on him all year, because he got to play hero ball all last season. His only NBA experience was with nobody that was playing that should play and no expectations to win at all. And it does seem to be not as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah. It's definitely better now than it was in Summer League. Summer League, he never passed the ball. But I feel like he's able to, 20 shots is probably too many, but he had a hot hand. Yeah. And I'm always cool with the guy with a hot hand taking more shots. And so we'll see what happens when Desmond's in there. I always am going to think, at least in the short term, that he is a bench heater for us right now.
And that's his role. And so
that's what he needs to be.
Last night, no, he didn't pass the ball really at all last night, but he was often the kick out guy. Like, we kicked it to him for a 3. We kicked it to him when he was cutting. We got him on a couple of run outs. And so there weren't positions where he was a part. There was a few, I'm sure, but from what I'm recalling in the game, I don't remember a lot of times where he got the ball with decisions to make. Like, he got the ball where it was like, all right, you got to shoot. Like, it was a kick to him to shoot. And it worked last night. There's probably going to be some games where, like in Summer League, where like, Gigi, pass the ball. Yeah, but if he is coming off the bench and he's that heater for that second unit, I don't want him shooting the ball. If he's shooting it like this, like he did last night, in the future coming off the bench, don't pass. Just keep shooting, man. The shots are starting to fall, and let's see what happens. And so I can see kind of the rationale, but
you can ask for all the credit. You're going to get none. You're going to have none, and you're going to like it.
That's it. And this is the point that I'm trying to make. I like Gigi having a defined role on this team. You are the second unit heater. You go out there and you shoot and see if you've got it tonight. If not, then you're going to attack. Then get to the rim, get rebounds, put backs. But like, I like him in that role for the second unit going forward. And so, Drew, we've gotten our black eye. We seem to be getting on our feet, and we're heading in a positive direction. And the schedule is very favorable for that on Wednesday night. We play the Toronto Raptors in what's kind of a trap game. Toronto is coming in kind of hot. They lost to the Knicks. I think it was last night. Let me see. They won they're 8-2 in their last 10. They're playing kind of good basketball. Let's see. They beat the Clippers last night. They play the Knicks tonight, and then they play us on the back half of a back-to-back. And so they've been playing with they lost. They beat the Clippers, lost to the Bulls, but they have beaten some not great basketball teams. I mean, the Wizards, the Pelicans, the Hawks, the Magic. They went toe-to-toe with the Bucks. They recently beat the Celtics back in January. So, this is a team that's kind of doesn't have an identity. They're probably going to get poached a lot at the trade deadline, but not one that we need to sleep on with the Thunder on the horizon on Saturday. Any thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a little nervous going up against former coaches. Darko is the coach for Toronto. They have won half of their total amount of wins in the last 10 games. They're 8-2 in the last 10. They've only won 16 this season. And they're a team that, obviously Scotty Barnes isn't going to get traded, but you look at the people around him as you're getting towards that Thursday deadline. Toronto's a team that is currently in 12th in the East, and they are 4.5 games back of 10. They're not in a realistic shot to make a play-in tournament, I wouldn't think. I don't think that that's their goal anyways. And so I could see guys from that team getting shipped off. And so when you're talking about the eve of signing day, I don't really know what anybody's roster is going to look like, who's actually going to play.
I mean, that's it.
It's a tricky game. Even the 8-2 out of their last 10 Raptors should not beat the Grizzlies on Wednesday. But I will concede that it's kind of a weird game for everybody that plays basketball in the NBA on Wednesday.
I mean, it is. It's going to be a murky couple of days. Like you said, we've talked about Bruce Brown on this show. Jakob Poeltl's a name that comes up a lot tied to the Grizzlies. I feel like, Scotty Barnes, Dick is untouchable, Pauls, but everybody else is going to be one of those that's on the block. Could they get moved? And that's always a weird time because we've been that team. We've watched the Grizzlies be that team at the deadline. And so don't sleep on this team. You don't know who's going to show up, but don't sleep on this team and get bit.
This is their, we're talking about their last 10, haven't winning 8 out of their last 10. It's a good win against Boston and Orlando, but then you have two wins against Atlanta, one against New Orleans, once against Washington, and one against the Clippers. And then you had a 16-point loss to the Bulls.
So, but they've beaten the Warriors. They beat a couple good teams, went toe-to-toe with the Cavs back early January. Again, they're just a team not to nap on. Emmanuel quickly can get hot. They're a team that you don't want to discount in a midweek.
They're also on the second game of a back-to-back for the Grizzlies.
They're playing the Knicks to beat us up. And so, we have no business losing this game. I think we're a 6.5-point favorite as it sits right now. 9-1 in our last 10. We're playing good basketball. Gigi's emerging. You're right, Pat. He's a scorer. I don't know that he's going to shoot us out. That's a fair thing. But this could be a good game for him to continue to find his shot. One that we can get some rest for Jaren. He doesn't have to shoulder the load by himself. I would love for this to Yuki to be getting minutes early in the fourth quarter in this one as we prepare for the big showdown on Saturday, which we'll talk about in the 2-hour episode on Thursday. Don't forget, we're going to be here with y'all up to the trade deadline with notifications turned on. Come hang with us, check in and out. We're going to be around talking all trades. So far, it's been an active trade deadline, and I don't think we're going to be disappointed on Thursday.
I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to be disappointed if they do nothing. I'm just going to get out in front of it. I'm not going to be disappointed if they do nothing. You're at the 2 seed in the West, and we've got a lot of guys that I feel like, whereas you may not be able to count on them every single night, you've got enough guys that somebody will step up. And sure, I would love to consolidate the inconsistent for one consistent, but I'm not going to I'm not going to be throwing things one way or the other unless I see Cam Johnson go for much less than what I feel like the Grizzlies should offer. Thursday is going to be a ton of fun. I think we've both taken off after lunch on Thursday, so we will stay as long as you guys want to keep talking. And we're just going to have a lot of fun with it. We're playing around with some new things. Rusty, we're going to get a Shazam drop for any time that a trade happens. We will have Twitter pulled up here to be able to show you trades as they happen live. But it's going to be a 2-hour show minimum, which means we need help from the YouTube comments. People on Twitter, if you're watching on Twitter right now, Thursday, get in YouTube. YouTube is where everybody talks and where everybody hangs out and chats with us. That's where we get 95% of our comments. And if you want to talk to other people in the chat, it's not all about just talking to us, but talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
You can do that in YouTube. Be in YouTube Thursday at noon.
Yeah, for all the Shazams that are going to come. We had one today. We were able to break one today, and so I feel like a lot's going to come. I was going to get to that. My expectations of the Grizzlies at the trade deadline, I'm keeping them low. I think we'll do some consolidation. There's just no way we don't. There was a lot of scouts in the building last night. Like, there's been a lot of smoke around moving some guys. Jake and JD got some early run last night for a reason. And I think there'll be some consolidation trades. I think the white whale that I think of all the trades, Jimmy Butler, KD, all things, I think Cam Johnson is the most likely to happen because he fits the timeline. We've worked with Brooklyn before, and we're not known as the splashy trade deadline team. I also think there's like a 65-70% chance that Zach Kleiman looks at his team and says, you know what? We're getting healthy. One of the worst things that probably could have happened for transaction porn was Gigi going for 27 last night, because Zach Kleiman could look at this and go, why do we need to make a trade when our trade deadline acquisition was Gigi Jackson? And so don't be in your feels saying, Kleiman's got to go, fire Kleiman, just because you don't get the transaction porn that you're looking for. And it is because there's dark corners of Grizz Twitter where it's very negative and it's very ugly. And I implore you to avoid those corners at all possible. Hang with us. We know what's best. The Grizzlies make a trade, great. If they don't, we're probably going to be just fine and finish as the second seed in the West.
I can see a real scenario where if things don't go out, like if the big deal is not going to happen, Cam Johnson goes to Sacramento or wherever. At the end, I could see some moves like for second round picks. Like if the best thing you can do is get 2 second round picks for Jitty, I think they probably take that. Something like that. And so
same with Jake. He'll probably get moved for a second round pick. Like there'll be things that will happen like that.
First round pick.
Second round pick for Jake the Raven. Good Lord.
Did you see the alley-oop? Did you see the alley-oop?
He was on a tryout.
He almost killed John again with an alley-oop throwing of an alley-oop.
If nothing else, I want him off my basketball team for him trying to assassinate and murder John.
Yeah, he needs 100%. To quit throwing lobs. My homeboy ain't got it.
Listen,
how you can step back and hit a 3 off the bank at the buzzer and then not throw a lob to John Morant, who has the single highest vertical in the NBA. Like, he can catch anything. He's Justin Jefferson. Listen, but you cannot get it close enough for John Morant to catch it.
People that look like us are for we shoot threes and we rebound. That's all we do. We don't throw lobs. We're just a hustle guy over there. Like, oh my God, 4 second rounds for Jake. Good Lord. Hey, we'll call Brooklyn and say we'll give you Jake LaRavia for Cam Johnson straight up. Like, no boot.
Straight up. If we get a first for Jake LaRavia, you're buying me dinner.
That's fair. If we get a first, then absolutely.
You're buying tacos and Ghanas on Saturday.
Exactly. And I'll get a Jake LaRavia jersey to wear on the show sometime. But that's gonna do it for our Tuesday show. DG, Wayno, P, Pat, thanks everybody for hanging out with us in the comments. You always make the days better because you don't want to listen to us buffoons talk and share our opinion for the 45 minutes of your lunch break. We like to talk with you also. Be here Thursday, noon o'clock. We need y'all here. It's going to be a great trade deadline show as we talk through the happenings of the Memphis Grizzlies, hopefully, or the NBA at large, because there's going to be some movement. So be here. Be a friend to somebody who needs a friend in the meantime. And there are no refunds for what you hear on the $2 Sports Show.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for. Everybody, we're almost there. 48 hours.
Let's go. Go Grizz.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.